Good morning, folks. This is day 5 off the beans, and I just got back from the beach where I did my morning swim, so I'm feeling pretty alive and alert. And I must say, after 5 days off the sauce, I'm feeling pretty good. If you're a sane human being, you might enjoy the delicious, comforting taste of a cup of coffee in the morning. Ooh yeah, nothing beats the feeling of that first sip. Ooh-wee. But if you're like me, you might also sometimes overdo it with caffeine and feel the need to take a break, either to go off the beans for good or just to take a brief tolerance break and improve your sleep habits. Whatever the reason, I'll show you how I weaned off the beans over a period of 15 days. I've tried many ways of cycling off of coffee over the years, and this one is by far the least painful. It takes me down to 0 caffeine in about 2 weeks without terrible cravings or 0 productivity days. First, you're going to need a kitchen scale. You know, that thing you tell people is for baking, but you've actually only used it to measure drugs. That one. On the first day, we'll just measure out the normal amount of coffee you'd have for your regular cup, and we'll weigh that to get a baseline. For me, that was 15 grams. So that's where I started from. Yours, of course, will be different. Then I brew my cup, and the next day I do exactly the same thing, but I subtract 1 single gram from it. So I'm going to decrease 1 gram every single day until I hit 0. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, I drink about 3 cups of coffee in the morning. Why don't I just start with 3 cups, and then the next day I'll do 2 cups. I'll stick with 2 cups for about a week and then go down to 1 cup. You can definitely do that, and I have done that in the past, because the first time I tried to get off coffee, I was drinking an uncountable number of cups at my corporate job at the office. But the problem with that is the stepwise dropping of cup by cup is actually pretty large, and when you get down to that second to last cup, that last cup, and then the jump from 1 to 0 is just absolutely massive. I would get headaches, I would sort of relapse on my first day without coffee, and it just didn't really work for me. So if you tried that and that didn't work, I would give this a try, using a scale to literally measure it in a very small increment. Of course, there's nothing magic about using 1 gram increments. That's just the smallest amount that my scale measures. So the first couple days you probably won't notice really anything at all. The change will be very small, the coffee will taste about the same, but once you get to smaller and smaller amounts, it will drastically change.
Where's the coffee? I don't see it. Gonna be the saddest brew ever. The saddest French press in history.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's gonna be goddamn delicious.
As you can see, when I got down to 1 and 2 gram days, I'm making a French press with the wateriest, nastiest ass coffee I ever did have.
Delicious pond water.
But what's most important is that my energy levels and my ability to tolerate a reduced amount of caffeine was very gradual, even though the flavor is nothing to behold.
Once it gets to this point, you don't really miss it that much. It's like coffee.
So on my first day of no coffee, I actually like to continue drinking a hot drink, but just not a caffeinated one. So in my case, I always have bone broth around, so I could just drink that as my first morning drink. And if I wasn't feeling that, I could just have a glass of hot water. But I honestly think that keeping a little bit of the routine does give you some of that joy and some of the wakefulness that just comes from having a good morning habit without the caffeine. So drinking something hot at the time that you would have your first coffee can be a really good way to get you through it. This time I'm weaning down my coffee in order to have better tolerance for some upcoming trips. I'm going back to the States to visit some family, and I'm going to be jet lagged twice over the next 2 months, so I wanted to be able to use coffee as an effective tool to keep me awake when I want to be awake.
Hot water.
And it's just more effective to do that if I'm not already using it on a daily basis. Anyways, hope you found that useful. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you're interested in more content to live better, train smarter, and enjoy the good life. Take care.